That was kind of a bittersweet win for the Bulls because as impressive as this game was in taking down an Indiana Pacers team, a team that is above 500 and a contender in the East, even though they're without Tyrese Halliburton, which kind of changes things, but still, they're a good team, even without Halliburton. One of the better offensive teams in the league, and the Bulls had their way with them, really controlling this one throughout after that first quarter. The Bulls outscored the Pacers 40-21 in the second quarter alone. They took a commanding lead at halftime, and even though the Pacers made some runs here and there to try and get back into the game, the Bulls kept their distance and finished this one off in a blowout win. The reason I say it was bittersweet though is because if you caught the end of the game, midway through the fourth quarter, Josh Giddey, after having an incredible game where he was about to tally a new career high in points, comes down off a missed shot and rolls his ankle and hobbles off the court to the locker room while slamming his hand down in frustration. Now, luckily, as was initially reported by Casey Johnson, Billy Donovan did confirm this was a sprained ankle, the same ankle that Giddey hurt himself in the Olympics. The Bulls are going to do more testing and imaging on the ankle to determine the severity of it, but initially I thought this was something really serious, purely just based on his reaction and level of frustration, as if he knew that this was bad and could potentially be out for a significant period of time. Like, I wasn't sure if it was his Achilles, just based on the way he was walking off the court. That said, we obviously won't know how serious this is until they do some imaging on that ankle, but unless he's broken or fractured that thing, it doesn't sound like it would be something where he'd be out for a considerable amount of time. At least I hope anyway. I'm obviously not a doctor or a healthcare professional. And look, I'm not mad at Billy Donovan that he brought Josh Giddey back into the game in the fourth quarter, because the Pacers were actually on a run and closing the gap, and Giddey was the only stabilizing force that was keeping their offense running when he was a plus 26 in this game at that time. And he was 3 points away from his career high. Obviously, unless it's a massive blowout, a coach is going to get his guy in there to try and set a new career high. It was just kind of unfortunate timing, unfortunate circumstance, because Giddey was having a hell of a game and just continuing on this hot streak post All-Star break. 29 points in this one, 11 for 18, 2 for 5 from 3. He was getting into the teeth of the defense, drawing contact and getting the foul line, which I've said before has been really impressive. Was one of the knocks that we had on him, is that he doesn't get to the line often. So 29 points, he had 21 in the first half, so I thought it was a foregone conclusion that he would get his career high tonight. 29 points, 10 rebounds on 4 assists, and like I mentioned, a plus 26 in this game. So more to come on Josh Giddey and how long he's going to be out for. Kobe White also had 29 points and leading the way for the Bulls down the stretch after Giddey went down. What I appreciated about Kobe in this game was that he was attacking the basket and not focusing so much on his three-point shooting. He got most of his scoring inside in this game, going 11 for 20 from the floor, 3 for 6 from 3 to go along with 7 rebounds and 4 assists. Kobe has been much more locked in and operating as a leader in this winning streak, which you love to see when you're talking about the development of these guys and who's going to be that vocal leader or vocal leaders on this team going forward. Both him and Giddey have been phenomenal in running the offense together and ensuring guys know where they need to be. And that goes for Tre Jones as well. With Lonzo Ball being out, he's still in the starting lineup, has embraced the next man up mentality. He moves the ball well in transition, is able to find the open man. He led actually the team with 8 assists tonight, and although he only had 8 points on 4 for 12 from the floor, he was a plus 25 in this game. Zach Collins got the start, even though Vucevic was back in the lineup. He was on a minutes restriction, but even though Collins only played 23 minutes, it was a very efficient 23 minutes with 7 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. I've said it before, but this guy has been a very underrated passer and has been the hub on offense the Bulls are used to in Nikola Vucevic, but he's also more mobile and active than Vuce is in the paint, especially on defense. Vuce actually looks solid despite being out for a week. Only played 24 minutes, but still managed to get another double-double, passing Horace Grant third on the all-time Bulls history list in double-doubles, 11 points and 11 rebounds for Vucevic on 5 for 8 from the floor. Expected him to be a little rusty coming back in this game, but looked fine and back to his usual self. A guy who did look rusty in coming back was Patrick Williams, who's been out a little bit longer than Vooch, but yeah, Pat, I mean, he had that nice transition drive to the hoop, beating his man off the dribble, good finish, but he didn't really do much outside of that, and actually only played 13 minutes, even though I believe his minutes restriction was as high as 28. So yeah, Billy opted to give more time to Kevin Huerter and Modest Bucelis. Kevin Huerter getting more minutes or more time than Modest, by the way, in a game like this, when the Bulls were blowing it out for most of it is pretty unacceptable. I'm sorry. There's just no reason that he should be getting more playing time over Modest, even if Modest is struggling in a game. That's literally what the rest of the season is for, a season that isn't going to matter in terms of what they're competing for. And it's not like Modest was playing poorly. He had 8 points, 4 for 9 from the floor, was making the right plays, 4 rebounds and a block. Yeah, I really don't get Billy Donovan's logic sometimes. It would be different if the Bulls were trying to compete to make a playoff push and you needed your veterans out there, but they're not. That's not happening this season. Although, I say that, and I don't know, man. The Bulls, after winning tonight, and both the Heat and the Magic losing yet again, the Bulls are now only 1.5 games back of the 8th seed and 2.5 games back of the 7th seed. I mean, if they're able to get to 8th, all they have to do is just win one play-in game, and they would be the 7th seed. They're still going to get crushed in the first round by the Celtics or even the Cavs, but it's not out of the realm of possibility now, especially with the way they've been playing and more recently beating the teams that they're likely going to have to go up against in the play-in in the Heat and the Magic. I don't know. This one is tough because I've always assumed, well, the Bulls are going to get the 10 seed because there is so much separation between them and the Sixers, but they're not going to make it out of the play-in. And will still have a chance in the lottery. But if they pass the Magic and the Heat, not only would that worsen their lottery odds by passing them in the standings, and if they lost in the play-in, they would have a lower chance of getting a top pick in the lottery. But if they win in the play-in and go to the playoffs, well, now the Bulls aren't getting a lottery pick at all, and they're looking at drafting 15th. Like I said, I'm not going to focus on that too much. Instead, focus on the positives when it comes to the growth of these younger guys, which we have been seeing on display in these past few games. I mean, the Bulls' defense tonight was one of the best that we've seen post All-Star break, in my opinion. And one of the best that we've actually seen on the year. They were very much locked in, very aggressive, hyper-focused on that on the floor. Granted, Bulls might be in for a rough stretch if they have to play without Josh Giddey for some time, but anyway, I'll keep you guys updated on Giddey's status as we learn more. Let me know what you guys thought of this game tonight. Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.